The next amendment relates to section 152, 153 and 153A and the first schedule. There has been an attempt to consolidate the provisions relating to the withholding tax from payments to non-residents in section 152. Earlier, section 152 and 153 both contained the provisions relating to the withholding tax from non-residents. So the finance bill now proposes to consolidate both the provisions in 152. Accordingly, permanent establishment has been proposed to be excluded from 153. And for the purpose of 152, corresponding withholding tax rate have been provided in the first schedule. However, after exclusion from 153, appropriate amendment has not been made in respect of the permanent establishment in section 152. Again, probably an omission should be taken care of. The finance bill also proposes to incorporate withholding tax in the 153 related to the non-resident media persons, again bring into the ambit of 152. So this is the consolidation of the laws. Collection of tax from wholesalers and distributor. The bill seeks to provide 1% advance tax to be collected by manufacturers on sale of goods to a distributor, wholesaler and dealer. The tax so collected will be adjustable against final tax liability. This is basically appears to be extra revenue measures and also the documentation of economy towards to make more collections. Industrial undertakings are entitled to withholding tax at 3% on import, but there have been issues in the past where the department wanted that such companies should have a certificate from the commissioner. Otherwise, the lower rate of withholding tax on imports will not apply automatically. These were the practices. Now it has been made part of law, and now the industrial undertaking importing raw material must obtain certificate from the commissioner, otherwise withholding tax will be at 5%. Threshold for cash withdrawals from the banks. Daily threshold has been increased from 25,000 rupees to 50,000 rupees, and no withholding tax shall apply on a cash withdrawal up to 50,000 in a day. Maximum tax on retailers having turnover up to 5 million reduced from 1% to 0.5%. This is in fact anomaly. The finance minister in his speech and also the budget documents basically said that the turnover tax under section 113 has been reduced to 0.5%. But unfortunately the amendment in fact was made for the purpose of 113A. Now there has been a press reporting that this will be corrected in the Finance Act, and appropriate amendment will be made in 113 also. And then the overall turnover tax will reduce to 0.5% from 1%. Electronic media is also exempted from withholding tax on advertising services. Taxpayers currently paying tax under PTR or final tax regime now have been provided an option to go for taxation on net income basis, provided their tax liability on the net income does not fall below a certain percentage, and that is that in case of a commercial importers, 60% of tax collected on import, the actual tax liability should not be less than 60% of tax collected. In case of exporters or exporters intending agents, 50% of the tax deducted, and in case of sale of goods, 70% of the tax deducted on sale of goods. These were the provisions pertaining to withholding taxes and taxation regime. Now, there are certain amendments proposed for the assessments and appeals processes. Original assessment under section 120, a return is treated to be an assessment order issued by the commissioner, and the commissioner may, however, issue notice to the taxpayer to provide or require for information and statement and documents to remove deficiencies in the return, if any. The time limit for asking for this information earlier was up to the end of the financial year in which the return is furnished. The bill now proposes to extend this time limit by 180 days from the end of the financial year. So, after the close of the financial year, still 6 months to go, during which the commissioner can call for information. Best judgment assessment. Under the existing law, a taxpayer was entitled to file a return even after the best judgment order on non-filing or for any other reason was passed by the commissioner. The finance bill now, however, proposes to treat a return of income or revised return as invalid after the best judgment assessment has been made by the commissioner. If that is the case, then the return will not be treated as a valid return. Provisional assessments. The commissioner is empowered to amend the assessment made under section 120 or 121 on the basis of definite information acquired through audit or otherwise, or if he considers the assessment is erroneous insofar as prejudicial to the interest of revenue. That was the provisional assessment, and earlier there was no power to amend the provisional assessment, but now the commissioner has been empowered to amend even the provisional assessment. This is some significant change, I would say, or proposed amendment in 122(5)(a), and 122(5)(a) empowered the commissioner to amend the assessment. The appellate authorities held the view that commissioner is not empowered to make any inquiry before the amendment of assessment can be made, meaning thereby he can amend the assessment based on the information available with the department. But now the finance bill seeks that commissioner is empowered to make or cause to be made any inquiry as he deems necessary before considering the assessment as erroneous and prejudicial to the interest of revenue. In my opinion, inquiries, etc., falls within the ambit of tax audit. I mean, if a return is selected for tax audit and then inquiries are made, then it's fine. But now, this amendment indirectly embeds the audit powers within the revisional jurisdiction. In the old law, there were two sections, 65 and 66A. 65 was invoked where there is a definite information available with the department. And the 66A was where the tax officer considers that the return was erroneous and prejudicial to the interest of revenue based on the information available with the department. So 122(5)(a) contained the provisions corresponding to 66A. So I think this is a major change and need to be agitated, I would say. Then another major amendment has been proposed, that there was a debate going on that whether the Commissioner of Appeals, in absence of specific powers in the law, was empowered to grant a stay or not. But the courts held that the appellate authority has the inherent powers and rights to grant the stay in the appeals pending before them. And accordingly, the Commission of Appeals have been granting the stay in the past. But now, the finance bill proposes to provide specific powers to the commissioner to grant a stay, but only up to 30 days.